Hello, I'm Craig, and welcome to another episode of Football Kit Memories, the football podcast that gets under the shirt. In today's episode, I am joined by illustrator Dave Flanagan, who's worked for the likes of City, United, Liverpool, Juventus and Monaco. We also discuss his role in the BBC's iconic Euro 2020 opening credits, as Dave sheds light on his creative process and the reasons he decided to go freelance after 20 years at a design agency. Later, I asked Dave to pick out 3 of his favourite football shirts and tell me a little bit about what they mean to him. Growing up in Preston, Dave explains his strange passion for Liverpool, his family roots with Man City, and we finish on a modern classic as Dave explains the significance of the Juventus 2015-16 Scudetto winning home shirt has to him. Remember, you can listen to this and other episodes of Football Kit Memories on all major audio platforms including Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Please do like, follow, share, but above all, please do enjoy the podcast. Okay, so today on the podcast, I'm delighted to say I'm joined by illustrator Dave Flanagan. How you doing, Dave?
Hi, not so bad.
So, mate, I just wanted to looking at your website and your portfolio, you've got an absolutely fantastic client list of work in football and kind of beyond football too. There's like elite level clubs in the UK and Europe, England national team, Nike, BBC, so many more. But I wanted to roll it back first and ask you how you got involved in illustration in the first place.
So I'll take it way back. I've always been interested in art. It was just my thing, art and football. So in school, that was what I was good at. High school is what I was best at. And then it was kind of like leaving school and sort of talk to my parents about what it is I was going to do. And I said to my mother, I'm going to do art and be an artist. And she went, no, you're not. There's no money in it. You're not doing it. And I said, right. And then we just sort of discussed it, and there was graphic design. So I decided, she said, well, people get money in design, there's money in design, and go into that. And she was kind of one of these people that find people jobs. So I thought she must know what she's talking about, because that's what her job is. So I went into graphic design, but I was really lucky because I did a BTEC course at Preston, which was a couple of years, but it did all sorts of different subjects. So it was like painting, drawing, printmaking, everything you think of, as well as graphic design. So then we did a bit of Mac work. You do like so much stupid, like 2 hours a week Mac work. I mean, you think about it now, it's like all your hours is Mac work. But
yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, but it was really good. So I got to introduce to even to like live classes and things like that. And crazy. It felt crazy to be doing graphic design, doing all that stuff, but I absolutely loved it because it was all these different things. And then when I finished, most of my work, I would say, was a lot of illustrated work on the wall. So my final show, it was graphic design, but there was a lot of my illustrated work in there.
Okay.
And that's what I enjoyed doing. And then I went to Bolton to do an HND. And then that course, that had a bit of different things, like a bit of life drawing and different things like that in that. So I quite enjoyed that. But it was heavier on the graphic design, which was fine. And I passed the course, and then I qualified and I left. And then it's go and get a job sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So I went, applied to lots of places around where I live. So I live near Preston. So I was sending it to my CVs out to Preston, different places. And I was just looking at one guy who had a design agency in Preston. One of the references I'd put on that I'd done work experience at the Harris Gallery in Preston. He knew the guy that I'd done work experience with, and he said, "Oh, come in for a chat."
Oh, great.
And then I went in for a chat. And I don't think he was that impressed with my portfolio. He sort of was like, "Oh, we'll give you a ring or whatever." And I was like, oh, "Okay, no problem." So, and then a few interviews that hadn't gone that well. And then I was working actually for my wife's dad, my father-in-law, on a farm before we were married. And I got home one day and I was covered in mud and everything. I've been working on this farm. I was so tired. And my dad just said, "Just ring them back and ask them if you can have a job." Yeah. So I rang them back. And when I rang them back, the design agency was in this like massive project and they were really under pressure and everything. And I said, "Look, I was just ringing it. If I've not got a job, that's fine. I'd just like to know, And he went, "We are mad busy. Can you come in and work? Can you come in and work?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course I can." So I turned up. I don't think he was going to give me the job, but it was just that busy.
Wow.
That I just turned up, and then that was it. I left after 20 years at that place. So really? It was 20 years. So wow. Yeah, I started as at like I was 19 or 20 or something like that, I think it was, and then left. But all the time I was working as a graphic designer, I loved the illustration part of it, and I found that you could start doing illustration with using Illustrator and Photoshop and things like that. So that was what I wanted to do, but the job never lent itself fully to that. So I developed and evolved in the job, and I was quite good at it. And I built a team, and I was working with the bigger clients. And then I got more into the management side of it. But then there was this just nagging thing that I needed to do something else. And I constantly doing things in the background at home, like got myself a Mac at home, and I was doing bits and bobs of cards and all sorts of stuff, and just always thinking I had to write a children's book and stuff like that. It's just daft. And then I was just one night, I thought, because I'm a City fan, and I just thought, I'm going to draw a picture of David Silva, and I just did this illustration of him, and I threw it on what was Flickr at the time. I don't no one will know Flickr. But basically, I threw it on Flickr, and then I didn't think of it. Put a few on there and did a few little bits and bobs, and I ended up working with a magazine. I thought, oh yeah, I work in this magazine, and I got paid hardly anything, and it was nothing. So I thought, this isn't going anywhere. And then one day I just got an email just saying an agency that from Manchester that worked with Man City, and they sent me illustration, and would I like to illustrate the whole squad?
Wow.
And I went, I thought they were taking the mick because it was the day before my birthday and stuff, and I thought my mates were winding me up or something, and it wasn't. And they basically commissioned me to illustrate the whole squad for this kids promo thing they were doing.
Yeah.
And they actually got me to go to the ground. I asked if I could take my agent. I took my dad, and I went to the ground, and they interviewed me in the ground as if it was like a player. I was in the seats in the stand. They interviewed me about the illustrations, and they had these videos you can still see on YouTube now. And it's like the players with the boards of the illustrations signing them and saying how they liked them or if they didn't like them.
Right.
And that was the time of like Company and Aguero and Balotelli and all the team that won the league basically that year.
Yeah.
And so then I thought, well, I've made it, but I didn't do anything with it. So I didn't get anything else from that, and I didn't really particularly like the illustration style that I'd used as such. So it wasn't like I was going to go and do more of that. I'd just done that as a bit of an experiment. And then I thought, well, I want to do more action-based stuff. So I started doing players kicking the ball and things like that. And then Arsenal got in touch. And then Arsenal commissioned me to do all these different types of illustrations for different stuff. And I thought, oh, that's great. And then it just built from there. It was just a slow thing. And social media was the big player. As soon as you put something out there and people see it, you get more followers in that industry, and the more followers you get in that industry, the more stuff they see, and then the more emails I got. And then it just got silly where I was doing a full-time job with, I think it was 2 kids at the time, with 2 kids, full-time job, coming home and then like having tea and then illustrating and stuff. And it was just getting a bit daft because I had 2 jobs essentially. So I was working for like Man City. I did more projects with Man City. I was working with England Rugby. I did a whole campaign for England Rugby where they had huge, 40-foot banners on the side of Twickenham.
Wow.
With my illustrations and stuff, and on program covers. And then Juventus got in touch. I did a lot of work for Juventus.
Just off the back of your work that they'd seen on social media?
It's constantly from work people see on social media. So I've never ever emailed a client direct and said, oh, work with me, or sent a portfolio, or like illustrators used to do where they'd go to a studio and say, oh, look at my stuff.
Yeah.
I've never ever done any of that. I've only ever posted stuff on Instagram and Twitter, and people have seen it, and then I've had emails like,
that's incredible.
I got a whole Monaco campaign doing every player through Instagram. The guy who does all the comm stuff just saw some illustrations and went, we want the whole team doing, and that was, they did like, when you go on the website and they had the players squad list and they'll have photos and stuff, but instead of photos they had all the illustrations that I'd done and stuff like that. And they actually launched the players that they bought like 5 players, and they launched them with banners with my illustrations of the players on and stuff. And it was just like, you just think to yourself, like, what's going on?
That's
big crackers.
So all of that thing kind of happens by a happy accident, that you're getting your work out there, and more and more people follow you, like you say, and they just see it. That's incredible.
I've thought about it a lot because I've been asked the question a lot, is how do you get clients? And things like happy accident is, if you do good work and you put it out, and people see it, you'll get work. And that's, people say, how do you get clients? Well, you do good work and people see it, and then you get commissioned by it. It got to the point where I was doing 2 jobs. We had a 3rd child on the way, and I said to my wife, I said, look, I'm going to quit my job, which was a really good job. I was a design director there, and I was probably managing the biggest client, one of the biggest clients they had, and I was getting on really well with the client. I had a team of people that I worked with, and it was really good, and I loved where I worked. So it was a brilliant place, but I just had this other thing that I loved doing, and I had to swap it. And it was, honestly, I describe it like the day I left, because they asked me to wait on another 3 months, work for another 3 months. So, and it felt like the day I walked out of the office, it felt like I was getting off a speeding train, if you know what I mean. It felt like, because there was so much pressure all the time, because it was like, everything was my responsibility on me. If something went wrong, some print job went wrong, or someone wasn't coming into work because they were ill or anything, it was always the pressure on me and other people. But I always felt all this pressure. And the day I walked out, it just felt like this. I'd got off this speeding train, and I was just like at the station thinking, where can I go next, sort of thing. I know it sounds really cheesy, but it honestly is what I felt like.
It's all those moments there in life, aren't they? That's a huge decision. What did people say to you when you told them, look, that's what you're going to do? You're going to leave this kind of well-paid, high-powered job to go and do something that I guess felt like a bit of a risk at the time?
It only felt like a risk because I've been somewhere 20 years. In truth, I didn't feel like it was a risk because I was earning enough money in the second job. It sounds daft to not worry about it. And I had money, I'd saved money up as well. So I didn't, it wasn't a risk in terms of financial as such. I mean, it could be down the line, even now you could stop getting work, but the risk, it wasn't that big a risk. But no, it was a big risk because I had shares in the company, I had all these different things. It was a big risk, but I knew I was going into something like that. So, but as in family and advice from people, I don't think anyone said, oh yeah, go and do it. There was probably my best mate who's just a bit like, go for it. He went, just go for it. He said, I'll pay for you. If you don't get it, I'll pay you a year's wage and all this sort of stuff. He was like properly behind me, but that's a bit the way he is. But
everyone needs a mate like that, bloody hell.
Yeah, but then it's whether he listens to that one mate, isn't it? But I think I have a relative that I went to see who I thought would be more knowledgeable about it, and I basically said to them, I said, oh, I'm going to leave my job, become an illustrator, and they sort of said there's no money in illustration, and I went, all right, okay, but I sort of knew there was. So on the way home from traveling back with the family from where we were staying with them, I got an email from an agency in London, Rose Design, and they basically emailed to say, could I work on a campaign for one of their clients? And it was like a massive job. And I just went, that's it, I'm quitting. So I basically went in the next week and quit my job.
Right.
And because I knew that would give me a year's on top of what I'd saved.
Yeah.
So it'd give me a year's grace. So sorry, that's a really long-winded answer to get rid of illustration, but
that's great. I really like the kind of the speeding training analogy for sure. What I wanted to ask you as well, is there a way to describe your style? How would you describe what you do, or is that too reductive?
I think about this one a lot as well. I don't as such have a style, although people say that they recognize my stuff straight away.
Okay.
I try and do all sorts of different things. So you'll see on my website, I do everything from a simple cartoon made up of shapes to a watercolor painting type thing and stuff, or I'll do complex backgrounds or not complex. I do all sorts of things, and the reason is I think I get bored quite quickly of doing the same thing all the time. And I know there are illustrators that do the same style and they put the same work out and they develop and they do great from that. It's just not the way I am. I couldn't do that. So my way of working is to be thinking, oh, I could do this new way of doing it, or I could use key lines this week, or I could use transparent colors, or I could use black and white, or I could have an action shot, but I could have a portrait shot, or like in the past I've done things like stained glass windows and stuff like that. And
right.
I get inspired by little things that I see, or color, or a way of doing something, or a poster or something like that. And I think, oh, I could do something like that, but do my twist on it. And that's how I'm constantly working. And that's probably why I'm busy quite a lot of the time. So I'm not, if I had one style, would I only get work? I would only get work in that style. but because I have quite a few styles, I get work on all sorts of things. So it keeps it interesting for me.
Sure. I noticed on your website like the execution of everything seems to be different. So there's stuff that happens in print, there's stuff that happens, kind of online social, there's stuff that happens on TV and things like that as well. So I guess you have to kind of learn new things as you go if you're working that way, right?
Kind of. I don't really do animation or anything, so everything I do, I supply to someone to animate, or supply stuff to print. But I've worked in the industry for 20 years, so I understand a lot of the processes. And at the end of the day, in terms of style, I don't think I have one style. I think I create visually engaging content that people can use. So my way of thinking about it is to create things that would excite and interest clients to me and their clients from them. So if Arsenal will see something I've done and they'll say, really like that style, can we use it? And then their fans will see that on social media and interact with it, so they know. And then when you've worked with Juventus, Man United, City, Chelsea, when those other clubs come to that, they know that you can deliver those things. So it's kind of like I describe myself as an illustrator, but it's content creation really, and it's kind of, I still haven't put a word on it yet, but it's kind of like it's content creation, because it could be anything, it could be anything that I'm doing. It's just in the form of illustration, but yeah.
You mentioned a few of those like huge clubs. Are there any that you haven't worked with, or any near misses or anything like that you think in the future you would just love to do something for?
Yeah, it's quite strange because I did a podcast interview a few months ago, about 4 months ago, and I was asked the question, who would your dream project be? And I said, oh, my dream project would be working with the BBC on the intros to a Euros or the World Cup. I honestly did. And then literally it was like a month or so later, I got the BBC intros to the Euros and stuff. So it was like, whether it was coincidence or someone saw that or heard it, I don't know. But I got my dream job from that. So as in a club that I'd love to work with, anyone would love to work with Barcelona or Real Madrid or something like that. But the one that I've been trying, and like I said before, I've never emailed a client or tried to contact a client other than following people on social media or, chatting to people online in terms of social media. The one club that I have actually sent stuff to, I've followed them on LinkedIn, formed conversations, said how much I really want to work with the club, and they just don't want to work with me, is Preston Dave. Because it's literally down the road. It's like 20-minute drive from here.
Right.
Yeah, they're just not interested. I'm not going to work with Preston Dave.
Well, you're too big now. You can't go down to.
No. I like. They've always been like that second team, if you understand what I mean. Because around where we live, you were either a Liverpool fan or you were a United fan.
Right.
And and when I was really young, I was like a Liverpool fan. And then because I was going to City games with my dad, and that side of the family were all big City fans, I ended up being a City fan. So like all these people saying glory seeker and stuff, I was going from Liverpool at the time that were winning everything to City who were winning nothing, and literally went right down to second division, and then came back up, and then still didn't make it. And then nowadays, but to call me a glory seeker is a bit much, really.
You've been through it, as of many City fans. So, mate, tell me a bit more about this BBC project then. So your illustrations were used in their opening credits for the Euros just gone.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was. I just got an email from a production company, I think Chief Productions they're called, in Manchester, and they'd won the pitch with the BBC to create the Euros intro. And I didn't even know it was that when they emailed me. They just said they got a project that they think I'd be interested in. Do you want to chat about it? And they rang up and we chatted about it. And then I just couldn't believe it. At the end of the conversation, I said, "Do you know that this is like my dream project?" And they went, "No." And I was like, they just said we're working on it. We've got a kind of a theme and a way that we're planning it. And they sent me like a mood, like a PDF mood board of all images and styles that they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I said, well, which of my styles on my website would you like to use? And they just went, all of them. And I was just like, what? And they went, we want to use this, and this. Because we want to create a different kind of artistic mood for each one of the teams. So England's kind of a watercolor line-based one, and then you've got like Wales is kind of Belgium's kind of a thick brush type oil painting look, and then you've got like Holland is quite vectorish and vector illustration, and Germany's quite harsh shapes, and Scotland's quite not cartoonish, but it's got more of a sort of a Roy the Rovers feel to it, different things like that. So all the way through, and even the Polish, there was like the I did Poland, Russia, and Turkey in a sort of a like an outline style, a bit like a stained glass window style, but it was because they had these patterns running through it. It really worked well, and it was kind of like, it's just dream stuff. I mean, it was really fast paced. I mean, they had to get it out really quick and get it approved, and then there was like players getting injured, and so like I was illustrating like 3 or 4 players, and then they get injured or wouldn't get picked, and then suddenly you couldn't have them. So like people like Van Dijk and people like Ramos and a couple of others who went out.
So the work and you had to start again.
You had to pick another player and do them again.
Wow.
So Zlatan was another one. But so I mean, I've posted them since because they were some of the best illustrations I did.
Right.
But then you had to replace them by players who, I'm not saying they weren't as well. Well, they're not as well known, but they're still big players.
Yeah.
But it could have been a whole different visual look if you had Zlatan, Van Dijk, and Ramos in there, you know. But no, it was just a dream, and the team. Yoni Weisberg, and who's a great illustrator himself. You've probably seen his work, and Ben McFarlane, who works there, and they just had this vision of how it was going to look.
Yeah.
And they brought animators in and other illustrators to do some background elements and things like that. I mean, I did all the player illustrations, and then they sort of pulled it all together with like, there's a bit where there's a dragon breathing fire and a train coming through. So they were done like 3D artists and stuff. So it was, all these things came together to just make this. And I remember just sitting there watching it when they sent it to me, and I just thought, this is crazy. But it didn't hit home until it was played, and then Gary Lineker came on screen. You know, the first show.
Yeah.
And it was just like I had my kids all in the room, 3 kids in the room, and they're like, "Do we have to watch this? Do we have to watch the whole thing? Do we have to?" I said, "You'll sit there. You'll sit there. This is my moment. This is my moment. This is winning the FA Cup and bringing your kids on the pitch. This is you in my living room watching this." But they wanted to they were like, "Do we have to watch the whole thing?" I was like,
Yeah. This is why Daddy's been grumpy for the last month.
This is, you've not seen me.
So I mean, those films are like kind of events in themselves, aren't they? Like they preview them on the website because people are excited to see what the BBC and the ITV idents are going to be, right? So that must be, you know, incredibly good for your business and getting your name out there as well, right?
I imagine so. It's like all these things. It's it's just kind of a slow ball sometimes. Sometimes it's like something's released and you don't hear anything about it, like other clients. And then suddenly it'd be a few months later, a few weeks later, it just go like click, click, click. And then you've got clients going, "Oh, we want this, this in that style." And it's, some of it's slow pace, some of it's quick pace. I mean, I can't talk about it because it's all under NDA and stuff like that. But I did some work in the summer, and the reason last summer we were in lockdown anyway, and I'd added like a couple of weeks where everything had gone quiet. I think everyone went quiet for like 2 or 3 weeks during start of lockdown.
Yeah.
And I'd literally thought to myself, "Oh my God, what if I don't get any more work, or what if no one's interested in it anymore because of lockdown?" I thought, what am I going to do? You know?
Yeah.
And then my little one was 2, and she would sleep for 2 hours in the afternoon. So in those 2 hours, I'd jump on my computer and just try and do something new and different, something that people would see.
Okay.
And I did these illustrations that were really simple vector illustrations, and I just picked the biggest stars, did them up quite like what I'd done. I thought that looks quite cool, and I'd done it quick, it was only in 2 hours. Fired it onto Twitter, and then literally my daughter, my eldest daughter, she's 11. She was going, "There's something wrong with the iPad. It keeps pinging." And then my little lad was going, "Something keeps pinging." And I was like, "What's pinging?" And I was like, literally like people were liking these posts and liking them.
Yeah.
And I'd only ever had, say at the most, I'd had at the most, say 140 likes on a post on Twitter. Say it was that. It was not, if it was 300, so what? It's around that. Yeah. This was past 2,000. This had gone like crazy. I'd never had anything like it. And then I had people following me from Coca-Cola and from massive agencies. And also, you know, I was having to go back at night because as much as I got 2,000 likes, which is great, I was having to go back through the people that were following me so that I could follow them back.
Yeah, definitely.
Or record who they were. Because if I missed them, I'd have been like, so I was going back through and I was going like, someone from Saatchi and Saatchi was following me, and someone from Coca-Cola, and someone from this club or that club or the other club, and people were putting comments on it. It was crazy, and it just got crazy. And then I said to my wife, I said, "Oh, it's blown up a bit. This, as much as 2,000 is blowing up, you know, compared to other people, it's nothing."
Yeah.
And then I just got this email, and this crazy job happened, and it's still not released yet because of COVID. This crazy job that I worked on has not been released.
Right.
And I just want to tell the world, but I can't because it's not like my dream job like the BBC, but it's a dream job just to go, I did this, but I can't say anything about it. But it's just, but that was from literally like I said before about creating different things. I could stick to doing one style of illustration and carry on rattling things out in that.
Yeah.
But I want to create something new, and when I do something simple, I want to create something detailed. And when I do something detailed, I want to create something simple.
Yeah.
And some of them blow up and some don't. Some never get used. Some do, and that's kind of the way I work. But
it sounds like it's all about kind of being brave, trying stuff, but also it's hard work as well, and things. You know, I mentioned happy accident earlier. I kind of didn't mean it in a way that you don't work hard. Just like as long as you're putting good stuff out there, like you say, you're going to get noticed.
It is like you say, it's a happy accident that someone was looking on that day, but I think people are looking for content. So you've just got to be connected to the right people, or even the juniors. You know, it might be an agency where the director's in it, but it might be the juniors in it that's taking it to director or something. You know what I mean? It's people are after content, and people are after stuff that's looking new, and that's new stuff has got to be good. It's got to be eye-catching. It's got to be different. I mean, I always tell the story. I've told this so many times, but I was working away. I was working on some projects, and I got this email from CNN, and they said, which is crazy because at the time I was a bit obsessed with watching CNN and MSNBC because it was all the Trump stuff, and I was a bit obsessed with it in terms of like, not that I don't like Trump, but what I mean is I found it really interesting, the whole thing. So I was watching a lot of CNN and MSNBC. And they got in touch and said, we've seen some of your work, which is stained glass windows. And they said, designs. And we said, we've got this project coming up. And it's, we want you to illustrate Donald Trump as a stained glass window for this piece on him, about him and religion, and whether he actually is religious and all these different things, and whether it's all fake and stuff. And I said, that is absolutely amazing. I'd love to work with CNN. I said, but how did you hear about me? And this guy said, I'm a massive soccer fan in America. And I'd seen some of your work online. I'd saved it in one of his, he's got like a folder on his computer, saved a lot of work. And he saved that, and they've been talking about it in a meeting and said, oh, well, why don't we do it like a stained glass? And he'd gone, I know this guy. You know,
incredible. The
most random thing in the world, isn't it? And next thing I'm working with CNN, and it's on their site, and it's a Donald. I don't know whether Donald Trump ever saw it. He might have done, but it's crackers, isn't it? It's just crackers.
I wonder if that was around the time when they asked him if he liked the New Testament or the Old Testament, and he couldn't name a book, could he? It might have been.
It could have been. I think he said he was a member of a certain church, and then CNN and that lot had gone to this church, and sort of it was a whole story on whether he was basically he was, wasn't he? He was just blagging. He's not interested in church and the Bible. It's just to get votes in it, but. It's just really interesting, and then even from that, if you look on my website, the project, this 3D company got in touch with me and they did a 3D version of it, it looks like the real thing, like a stained glass window, but they did it in 3D, and they asked if they could do it, and they mocked it all up just so they could show their skills and then show my skills and stuff. But it looks amazing what they've done.
That's incredible, mate. Well, look, we'll have to look out for this secret project then. I'm sure it'll be all over social when it does blow. So, mate, that's great stuff. Should we talk about your football shirt choices today?
Yeah.
The first question I ask everybody on the podcast is, what do football shirts mean to you?
Now, I know some people who collect them and have hundreds of shirts and know every shirt that's going.
Yep.
That might even be yourself. I know. But myself, I don't buy a lot of football shirts, but I appreciate football shirts.
Right.
When I do appreciate a football shirt, I buy it. I really do go out and get it, and I've done that in the past. But I don't buy one every season. It's one of those things I can't part with 60 odd quid every season for something that looks like the last season's whatever. And it's just the way I am. But I do appreciate them. I do appreciate design. And I used to, a friend of mine used to live next door to, he worked for Umbro, Nike, now works for Reebok, doing that sort of stuff. And he used to show me his portfolio and stuff. And he now lives in America. And I really appreciate the design side of that, because it's the things that they do and the materials they look at and the way that it's sewn and the way that the collar works. It's amazing what they do. But yeah, what it means to me is probably memories. I think that's what it means to me, rather than actual physical fashion that I would wear. It's memories. And it, when you think back, I was thinking that when you asked me what my 3 favorites was, I just sort of sat down and I was like, oh, crikey, which ones do I really remember? Which ones resonate with me? And these 3, for different reasons, do.
Nice. Well, look, let's talk about your first one. So this is the Liverpool 89-91 away shirt by Adidas. It's the candy silver one. Tell me more, mate.
Yeah, it's at the time I wasn't a Liverpool fan, which is going to be weird because you're going to be like, why? When I was younger, I was a Liverpool fan, and it's because, like I said before, you had the United Liverpool, and my best mate was a Liverpool fan, so we were Liverpool fans. We even went to the 1986 FA Cup final against Wimbledon and all that business, and and they were a massive team at the time. You had when I supported them, it was Barnes and Beardsley and all these greats, and they were fantastic to watch, and they won everything. They won everything every year, didn't they? But I went and became a City fan because I was going to Main Road with my dad and watching City, and it just felt weird to support this Liverpool team when I was surrounded and all my family were City. So I just decided I was going to be a City fan and suck it up. But in terms of kits that I remember, and I go, wow, that silver candy Liverpool kit, I just remember seeing it at the time and just thought, I've never seen anything like that. And the thing with those kits in the 80s and stuff was, in terms, because I've worked in design all my life, in graphic design and stuff, they kept them quite simple in terms of the branding and stuff. So you had NEC on Everton, Candy on Liverpool, you had Crown Paints on Liverpool, didn't you? You had Brother on Man City, and there was different things, but they were very clean, and the kit did what it did. But they were quite iconic designs, and I always thought Candy was one of the most iconic to me in terms of a brand. And to have a silver kit, I mean, I don't know. It's probably been hundreds. I don't know, but I'd never seen a silver kit.
Yeah, it feels
and I just thought it was fantastic, and it had that red trim and the Adidas stripes as well. Because I'm a sucker for Adidas. I like Adidas, but I just thought everything about it. But if I'm honest, I can only remember, and I might have got this completely wrong, them losing to Crystal Palace in like a semi-final or quarter-final.
Okay.
Like it was a big game or something, the FA Cup or something like that. And that's the only game I can remember it being played in.
Right.
But I remember I think my mate had it because he was a big Liverpool fan. He had the kit, and I remember being really jealous that he had this cool kit and I didn't.
Yeah.
And if you look at it now, you could release that kit and it would look cool today. I think it would. I think it would look awesome. The old Adidas badge, the red stripes. I think nowadays you won't have the shorts as short as they were, but I think you could release that today and it would still be a cool kit, especially the branding and stuff.
Definitely, I agree. Yeah, very nice, mate. So we'll move on then to your second choice. So, as you say, you became a Manchester City fan. So this is Manchester City a bit later, 97-99. It's the home shirt by Kappa.
One of the worst seasons ever.
Yeah.
one of the worst seasons as a City fan. But I might be wrong, but I think Umbro used to do all the shirts. Like I think Umbro worked with City for years.
Yeah.
And I used to like the Umbro kits. There was there are a certain number of kits that are iconic in terms of the now Quins and the Juve Roslers and the iconic stuff.
Yeah.
But there was never anything that I went, oh yeah, that City kit's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really nice design. I've got a bit back to that now, like City kits now. I'm not that, last seasons with the mosaic style. I mean, I was like, crikey, what are we doing? The away kits are more exciting, and even this new home kit, I'm not a massive fan. It's fine, isn't it? But again, I'm not that, so what?
Yeah.
And then, but at the time, they went to Kappa, who no one had Kappa from far as I know. No one had Kappa, and I didn't even know what Kappa was. I didn't know what the logo was, because the logo was like a naked man and woman sat back to back or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I found out it was like I think it's an Italian brand, isn't it? And they released this shirt, and like I said, I never buy shirts, but I went and got that one. I got the long sleeve because I thought it was the best thing since sliced bread. I've no idea where it is. I pray that I still have it, but I don't think I have. And it was long sleeve. It had a thick collar, because shirts weren't comfortable back then. Whether you can play, I don't know how they played football in those shirts, but and it had the black trim down there with Kappa logo all the way down, and it was long sleeve, so it was like more like a trendy shirt than a stuff I was probably wearing at the time. Like, and then so what year was that? 80? No, 97.
99. This one, 2 seasons.
Yeah. So, and it was just. But we played awful that season. I think we got relegated that season and stuff. It was absolutely awful. But I just loved the kit. I just absolutely loved it. I bet if you talk to many City fans, that kit, I would say they'd probably go, yeah, it was a pretty cool kit. And the away shirt was really nice. So it was like a white. I was reminded of it recently on another podcast. It was like a white with blue top and a red line on it and stuff,
wasn't it?
Yeah, Clara, and that was really nice as well. But it was just so different to everything I'd ever seen. It, because everything was sky blue with a bit of a collar, or sky blue with a bit, and this was like a slightly deeper blue.
Yeah,
Kappa logos down the arm. I can't remember when it was the start of when we started using the eagle design and stuff like that on the badge and things like that. I don't know whether that was the start of it, which no one could ever work out why we had all that stars and eagles.
It was made up, completely made up. All of
that. Yeah, which is just random, isn't it?
Yeah, why? Very odd.
Yeah, but it was the whole thing, and then you had the Simple Brother logo, and it was just, and I bought it. Like I don't even know how I bought it, because I probably didn't have any money at the time, but I just loved it. I just thought it was the best thing since sliced bread, and it a bit like when over recent years, City always used to have these different sponsors, kit makers, sorry, and we never had the Adidas and we never had the Nike. And I always used to think, we'll never be big enough to get those. And then obviously we went and won the league and all that. And then we got Nike. And I remember like ringing my dad up and going, we've got Nike. And he was like, so what? I was like, but we got Nike. We're a Nike team now. We're up there with the big ones. We're a Nike, Nike pressing up and now and stuff. But it was just a brand. The Kappa brand was just so cool. It's just like, it was just so different. And as well as the sort of poor memories of that season and those seasons, we went on. I think it was a Kappa kit for the playoff final.
Yeah,
when we went up,
the same one.
I think, but it was the yellow and black stripe we played. Yellow and dark blue stripe we played in the final.
Yeah,
which is iconic. I wasn't a big fan of the kit, but it was iconic. But I think they were Kappa as well. So we did have some good moments, and I think we had like. I think at the time we had King Cladsley wore the kit. It was kind of the end of his City spell, I think, but he was like a hero. And then I think we made like our biggest signing ever, which was no one ever heard of, Lee Bradbury, I think his name was. And I remember thinking, we're going to do great things now. We got this, and I think he did nothing.
I never heard of it.
Lee Bradbury, he was like the big, well, to a City fan, he was touted as the big thing, and then he did nothing.
Right.
I think he was like our first. He wouldn't have been our first £1 million signing, but he was our first multi-million-pound signing, and everyone went, "Oh, he's a young lad, he's going to do it." And I don't think he did anything.
Didn't quite well.
No, it used to be like that. I think I remember we had something like 4 managers in that season, or 5 managers in that one season, or something.
Wow.
There was like Clark, Couple,
Joe Royal,
and I think there was a couple of others. Yeah, so like 5 managers in the season. It was an absolute joke. I mean, Couple was an absolute joke. He only stayed a few weeks. Clark was just like, if anyone was going to instill confidence, Clark was not the man to instill confidence. But that kit, if I was going to name my one kit, that would have been my one kit.
Yeah. We're saying even a bad season on the pitch, you did it in style, I guess. Did it in Italian style. I like it.
Yeah.
Very nice. Well, speaking of Italian style, your third choice, that was an unintentional segue there. So you've got Juventus. This is a Juventus home shirt by Adidas. It's from 2017, this one.
Yeah, this it's kind of contradicting myself, because I think it's a beautiful kit, beautifully designed kit, and it's got a lot of memories for me for different reasons. But I actually bought it, and it wasn't a great kit.
Oh right.
It was like as in the kit itself's nice, but the logo was. When you look at pictures of it online, it looks amazing, but when you actually buy it, it's like there's a white thing that's been stuck on with the Jeep logo.
Oh,
so as much as the kit looks beautiful, the Jeep logo looks like with the one I bought looked like it was a bit stuck on.
I see.
So as much as I found it a beautiful kit, it was kind of like when I got it, I went, it's a bit that lets it down, that bit of quality on the logo.
Right.
But the actual shirt design, and I imagine what the players were, is beautiful. But the reason I chose it is I was going through all sorts of kits, and I had like, Euro 96 kit, England kit, and all those sort of kits. And I was thinking, but I don't really. England kits there's some great ones, but I just thought, well, what means something to me?
Yeah. And
I struggle with this one, but I thought actually, when I was working with these clubs and things, I worked with Juventus. Juventus got in touch with me one day, or an agency got in touch that worked with Juventus and said, we want you to create illustrations of all the players, and we want to create action shots of all the players in the stadium. And then they put them as posters up around Turin and stuff, and around Italy, and they used them on their social media. And that was the moment I thought, you sort of made it, or you're good enough to be in this industry. No one can knock you anymore because you've worked with one of the greats, So like Juventus was one of the, I used to watch, City weren't in the Champions League. Well, they were then probably, but like I used to watch the Champions League, even though City weren't in it.
Yeah.
And I loved the Champions League. And I love watching English clubs in the Champions League. I mean, people say, oh, United this, United that, or Liverpool this, but I used to watch them all because I used to like English clubs doing well in Europe.
Yeah, of course.
And but Juventus were always one of those big ones. Yeah. And when they come calling to have some work done, I was just like, that's not some English club that's the Italian giants as such, aren't they? And then they had that kit, and I just thought, instead of like the usual black and white stripes, it had that thick black stripe down the middle with the thin pinstripes, and then the outside, and then the logo sat so beautifully. And then when they win the league, don't they? They have the they call it Scudetto,
the shield.
Yeah. So they put the shield on the middle. So like Inter Milan will have it this year only, or whatever. But Juventus had it that year, and it just, with the pinstripe, it just looks amazing. And then the Jeep logo, I didn't like it when I got it, but actually I thought it looked, the P and the J, the other side of the thick line and stuff, I just kind of liked the symmetry of it. And yeah, I mean, you're an expert, I'm not, but I think it's a beautiful looking kit.
Well, mate, you're the design expert. It sounds like you've got a very kind of design eye on these things, talking about the lines, the way they meet up, for sure. It's a nice shirt, mate. It's a really nice story as well. Well, Dave, thanks so much for your time. It's really, really good to talk to you. Where can people find your work? Where can people follow you and stuff?
Yeah, so my website is daveflanagan.co.uk. On Twitter, I'm at Dave Flanagan, and on Instagram, I'm at Dave Flanagan 77, I think.
Fantastic.
Mostly those places. Yeah.
Lovely stuff, mate. Well, we look forward to seeing more work, and thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks for your time. It's been good.
So there you have it. Massive thanks to Dave for sharing his football kit memories with me. Remember, you can follow me in my own collection on Instagram, or get in touch via Twitter or email. Make sure you follow Dave on social, check out his work. The music you heard was produced by Eva Led. Check out his music on his Bandcamp. There's links to absolutely everything I mentioned in the notes section. And finally, thanks to you for listening. If you have enjoyed it, please do spread the word, give me a follow on social, and subscribe to Football Kit Memories on your podcast player of choice. And other than that, I'll catch you next time.